What is good? Not Jason's timing. We're running a little late. A couple of technical difficulties and a human difficulty. But here we are. Week 10 in the books. How you guys feeling?
Just talking about my wife and children.
I'm here.
You're here?
A little congested, but other than that, feeling swell.
Good to have you back, Matt.
Fauci would probably recommend a mask.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have one or not, but
I do. Several of them, actually.
currently?
Not
It's only
me.
good
Oh,
if it's at 95.
Not only. I do have some KN95s.
What up, Jared?
All right. Just kidding. JK kidding. All right. So we obviously had a Thursday night game. We're going to skip right over that one. Carolina, Atlanta. Nothing fun going on there.
Drake got a touchdown.
Drake did get a touchdown. I guess that's good. But we can jump right to Munich. That was pretty fun.
I think they pronounce it Munchin.
That was it was a little slow to start, but a pretty fun second half, and really was kind of the precursor to how much fun a lot of these games were, to the finish here. No,
I didn't have fun watching Sunday football.
why?
The Rams are fucking
Oh
awful.
well, I mean,
They're awful. I might just stop watching Sunday. I think I'm just gonna start not watching them anymore.
I was tuned in for a minute watching some Rams just to see if I could catch a little Kyron, but then when it was just like I can't watch this game. I'm not watching.
He got some run on the last drive.
Yeah, I saw.
3 catches, 30 yards, had a
Can't-
rush from 9.
Can't watch Walford or whatever
Oh
his
my
name
God,
is,
he's
and
so
and
bad.
Colt McCoy battle it out here.
It was so bad. And
Had to
then
go. Had to watch the Colts Raiders, see what was going to happen there.
Looks like Cup's gonna miss he might miss the rest of the season.
Yeah,
He's in a high ankle sprain, but
don't really know. Didn't look great. But
they said it could have been worse.
which there's some teams in some leagues that I'm in where it's kind of like I'm never wishing injury on anybody, but it's like your team kind of sucks and Cooper Kupp's like kind of the only one propping you up. So kind of nice to see some paper tigers maybe go down a little bit.
I have one.
Not that I'm rooting for.
Are you
Cooper
talking
Kupp
about
to
the
be
Rams again?
What do you mean? He was
His
talking
team
about
kinda
Cooper Kupp.
sucks and the Cup's the only. You're talking about fantasy teams. 'Cause
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about still the Rams.
No.
'cause
I
their
have
team
one of the-
sucks.
I have one of
The
those
Cup is
teams,
holding
but I've
them
been
up.
trying to trade Cup since before the season started.
Yeah.
Cup's holding the Rams up and couldn't.
No, I mean the Rams are just going to take their medicine this year. I mean it's kind of whatever.
Hey.
You want a championship?
Hey, at least we'll at least have a first round pick next year. Oh wait, no, they don't.
Yeah, I think you got a 2 and a 3 though, right? Anyway, you guys do well in the back half of the draft, and it'll be all right. No Stafford, couple will be back. A-Rob will be back. Just need a running game. Maybe work on that O-line somehow. Anyhow, the game in Germany was pretty good. The atmosphere in Germany was pretty good. Geno was decent again. The Seahawks were, pretty formidable. Kenny Walker not getting anything done on the ground, so it was apparent that he is not a Neanderthal when they throw it to him and just they adjusted, threw it to him, and it's amazing. I don't know what his market share or target share was this week, but I think it was pretty good.
I don't know. He had some catches that made his PPR day. Substituted for having a bad day on the ground, not
Yeah.
scoring any
It
touchdowns.
was almost
That's
20.
what-
It was almost 20. We'll just got 25%. 8 for 33. 8 out of 33.
Yeah.
Shut up. That's a fuck ton, right? For a running back.
Woo!
It's pretty good. Pretty strong.
I'm going down, baby. All right, but the main story in this game, little Nelly,
I mean, I know what the fuck it was. I just don't know why.
because I was excited. Because
Ready
he
to
can
let it
catch.
go.
It's so weird.
Yo, that
You adjust to not having a good game on the ground, and then he's, oh my God, he can catch. It's crazy.
and they made an effort to get him the ball
Right.
through the air because they were down and behind, and it wasn't working on the ground.
It's just wild. But this game, you saw Lenny doing what Lenny does for forever. We've been everybody telling you, well, Rachaad White's coming, and it's like, well, he really isn't. And then
He came.
he came first, last, and it was a good showing by Rachaad, but it was not because he usurped Lenny. It was because Lenny left the game. It was
Well,
No.
he
White
did.
started the game.
fucking
White
start
did
the game.
start the game, but then
Lenny
it was
didn't come into the second
but
series.
then it was okay, and then it was the Lenny show from there on out, and then Lenny got hurt, and it was like, oh, maybe they're just giving White some run, and then it was, oh, Lenny's on the side with the ice pack on his fucking groin. hip. Not that being said, Rachaad White was very good in his relief duty here. 22 carries for 105 yards. I can't imagine he's on any redraft waiver wires.
I picked him up last week, actually.
That's the way to play it. Just you should always be, churning some high value guys if something happens the week before, so they're not on the wire. Burn somebody who's just been weighing you down on the end of that roster, and picked up Christian Watson a few weeks ago on a bunch of redraft teams, and just been kind of sitting on that because if you've been watching, we've been kind of said like, hey, I know he's been hurt and banged up, but the couple of times he has been out there, he's been showing some flashes, and he's dirt cheap. Go get him. And now the blow up. So, but Rachaad White, same kind of way. I don't know if he ever really got as cheap as Christian Watson got. There's probably still some people holding out hope a little bit more than White than Watson rather, but nice showing from Rachaad there. Actually, thought that maybe you would see a little bit more in the passing game, but you really didn't see any catches from Rachaad White. And then Vaughn came in for a minute, and he actually looked pretty decent. So well done by the Bucks O line there and the running backs, but Rachaad White, Tommy getting divorced and maybe losing a decent amount of money.
He's fine.
I think he's fine.
That's not what I'm saying.
He's also got a $35 million a year contract waiting for him at Fox.
He does. That was what I'm saying is this is all in the good case for Rachaad White. If
Tommy coming back,
right? If Tommy did not look in any way, shape, or form for the first few games like he wanted to be there, like he was coming back.
Well, clearly he was dealing with some personal stuff going on.
Obviously, but now he's a divorcee, and shape it how you want it. I mean, he did lose supposedly lost a sizable amount of money in a bad investment deal here.
What with Giselle?
With Giselle, they had a lot of money tied up in a. You guys are not up on this?
No, I didn't see this.
Well, we'll skip that for now. And
please
you can
us.
Do your own research. I don't know the ins and the outs, but it's allegedly he lost a decent amount of money in a crypto kind of.
No, you don't
deal.
say.
There's maybe some other backdoors and other things that protect him a little bit, and maybe he didn't quite lose as much as people are saying. And I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm just speaking from what I've taken in on the surface level. But what I was saying was that's all good things possibly leading for Rachaad White. That being said, Rachaad looked plenty good on his own without having to necessarily have an elite offense around him to be usable and a formidable player here. So that's, I liked what I saw there. And I liked what I saw in Rachaad White's little bits and pieces that we had seen from him.
Mm-hmm.
But, Lenny was their incumbent. Lenny's the guy who keeps Rachaad from being out there and doing work. And now Rachaad has gotten out there and done some work. Going to be interesting to see. They said Lenny probably be back after the bye.
Schefter reports he probably won't miss any time.
Right. So, it'd be interesting to see maybe we split it up on the next game, but we haven't quite seen that with Lenny healthy yet. So monitor that moving forward. What do we think about Rachaad White moving forward? I mean, obviously, probably not the game to try to go buy him, but, I know nobody was super duper high on Rachaad White in this room. It wasn't against Rachaad White. It was just more against the situation for me. But definitely starting to feel more and more comfortable with the situation moving forward.
People were taking him in the first round,
At the end.
Couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have taken him over James Cook.
I would have taken Cook over Rachaad.
Yeah.
I did, I think, in one spot.
That White had more rushing upside than Cook did.
I think that's fair. It's just, that's fair enough. I mean, he's probably had more receiving upside than Cook did too. I mean, quite honestly, if it was odd that Cook got so much, accreditation for how good of a receiver he was, but I think that was really what was propping Rachaad White up was the receiving ability and warranted. I mean, he was a very good player, albeit late in his college career.
Simmons is old,
pretty old, but didn't seem to get docked too much for that. So what would be a price tag that would you pay 2-2s for Rachaad White right now?
I mean, it seems fair, but it just seems like it's probably not enough of an overpay to be able to try to probably swing the White owner to be able to make that deal.
I would pay 2-2s. Yeah, you're saying you don't think it would work?
I think I'd consider it. It'd have to be the right situation.
So you thinking that Tommy's coming back next year?
I thought that him and Rodgers were both probably out next year. It didn't look good. The optics for the first half of the season. But I mean, Rodgers looked like he was a little spicy this week.
Mm-hmm.
George likes his chicken spicy.
George likes his chicken spicy. Tommy looks like he's been they're maybe getting Ryan Jensen back here, which would be huge for that team. That O-line has just been ravaged as well. The Packers are now ravaged with injuries as well. So that doesn't make it easy on a veteran, but there's so many good pieces around in this offense, and just add in Rachaad White, Lenny, Godwin on the up and up here, seemingly really coming back into form here. Mike Evans, steady Eddie.
Julio even had a pretty good game.
Right. Julio looked good. Otten had looked good in some spots. Brate's back. So they got quite the cast of characters. That offensive line has just been the big problem right now, and didn't seem terrible this week, and the running game was the best it had been. And I don't know if it would have been quite as good with Lenny. It's no way of telling, but Rachaad White really did his thing, 22-105, and looked really good, and had one of those. Now maybe because it wasn't, maybe some people missed it, but he did. I saw clips on Twitter afterwards, but he did have one of those runs that really seems to catapult people into.
Was that run in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, the one where he threw. I forget who it was, down to the ground. Those are seemingly, for whatever reason, get the public hype even more churning. So I think you're probably right in the assumption that
especially when that's the only game on.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes those earlier games maybe don't quite get as much public attention as
I think they do just fine.
Oh, I'm sure they do just fine. I'm just saying it's not like the Packers
Cowboys
game at 425. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The game of the week or whatever. So we'll get to that in a minute, but I don't think Rachaad White is capable. I don't know that you'll get him for 2-2s at this point from most people, unless it was a rebuilding team this year that maybe got decent value on him, and they're still not feeling it, and maybe could rebound once again. But I think 2-2s would probably be what I'd be willing to pay. Maybe a little bit older, cruddier running back in a 2 if I could. Would you move Singletary and a 2 for Rachaad White?
I think I would.
Singletary coming up on free agency. I think he's a good player. Just
had a good week this week.
Doesn't get the run that he needs.
Any running back really needs.
He has been, decent.
I don't know. I feel like you're paying 3 2s. I feel like Singletary's worth
more than a single.
Is he worth more than a single? Is he worth more than a second?
To some people, absolutely not. But to some people who are trying to win right now, I don't know that.
Yeah, you know what? Give me the younger guy, give me the younger guy. I think
Singletary and a 2 to move on.
Yeah,
to move to Rachaad.
Yeah, I'll take the 3 years younger.
But you're about to get old Motor on a fresh contract somewhere else, and really could blow up. But you're getting the
Motor.
Reset.
That's Singletary.
Yeah, that's his nickname.
You're getting
2 years older than White.
Right. Rashaad's old. It's coming in. Nobody seems to care about that though.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's keep it moving here. What do you got?
Khalil Herbert or
Rachaad White? Herbert.
Yeah, I'll take Herbert.
That easily.
Straight up?
Yeah.
I think I'll take Herbert.
I don't know.
I feel better about like a lot of the situation moving forward.
Because Fields will be there.
Just that it's Fields. He's locked in for a little while. Montgomery's probably out of there. Like Lenny could be there for a whole nother year. And if Tommy's back, really muddying the situation up a little bit. Rachaad looks plenty good and capable. He's good in the receiving game. But I'm pretty sure Lenny signed like a 3-year deal this offseason with an option out.
Stall for another 10 seconds.
So it just, it could be not quite as good, and Herbert could really be. Now, right now, as far as what's going on, like the running backs in general in Chicago don't feel all that useful right now because Fields is doing so much on the ground. Like he's
Yeah.
so much of that offense right now that it feels like those running backs are almost playing second fiddle. But I feel like as we maybe settle in and move forward with this offense, that, you know, it's not going to stay like that forever.
They're crushing rushing yards because he's having to do all that magic on his own, and
right.
in spite of the offensive line and in spite of play calling. It's not like they're lining up and just smashing the rushing attack in people's face. It's him fucking.
I mean, they have in
Houdini
certain
people.
games with him and Montgomery and a little bit of Fields, but now these last couple of games where they've been scoring more points, it seems like it's been a whole lot more Fields running around, and the running backs haven't been really producing at as high of a clip as you like. But I think that has, you know, I think as this offense grows and matures and moves forward and we get into next year, I don't think you want to put Fields in that position of, you know, if it turns into more of a, we need it to be more of a Ravens than a Bills situation as far as what the quarterback's doing and how, and you know, not scared to actually run the ball and just use the quarterback as the running back. If it stays like it is, then I would take Rachaad, but I think we'll move forward and mature and the offense will grow into something a little bit more conventional.
Monty will definitely be out of there, and they're going to give her.
I would assume that Monty's out of there.
I would assume so too.
I can't imagine they're going to want to pay Montgomery. Like they got,
because that's a pretty forward-thinking move to move like Rachaad for Khalil.
I don't know that I would necessarily go out trying to make that move, but if you're giving me either,
I bet you could get a little. I bet you could get a little bit on top of
Herbert.
On top of Herbert.
I think you could get Herbert plus for Rachaad.
Yeah, and Lenny's probably there for another year. He's got $5 million in dead cap.
Right.
What about Brian Robinson? We're watching this Washington game.
I'll take both of them over Brian Robinson.
Agreed.
Over Brian Robinson.
Yeah, again, Gibson there.
He's not going anywhere next year.
Well, he might be injured.
Might have an ankle injury right now, but
Jesus.
But I mean, not really going anywhere. Most likely, you know, we'll see what happens moving forward. But I right now would take both of them over B-Rob.
Yeah, I would too. They both have a little bit more juice than B-Rob.
But if you hadn't, like, I scooped up Julio Jones in a couple of waiver wire situations and stashed him this last week, and so he could be a guy that could be a nice pickup for you if you haven't, and you maybe don't waste the claim. But he looked like he was back, and Tom just looks like a little more refreshed. And they got the running game going, man. That's just a big. They've been having to lean on Tom so much these last couple of weeks, and the running game got kind of moving here. So
yeah,
good on them. Tyler Lockett, you know, got you a touchdown, stills up in the top, 12 of wide receivers, and moving you forward. So next game, what do you guys want to hit? You want to go Minnesota, Buffalo, Chicago, Detroit, Jacksonville, Kansas City? So the game of the year so far?
Let's do a little Detroit, Chicago.
Okay. So this is, again, with the theme of the week. I mean, that Tampa game was a nice, fun ending. This game was a good, fun ending. Buffalo Mini was a good ending. Tennessee, Denver really wasn't a terrible ending. Jacksonville, Kansas City could have been a good ending. It looked like maybe it was trending towards a decent ending, and then it was all for naught. And then Cleveland, Miami on these 1 o'clocks wasn't great. Miami took care of business, but yeah, I mean, Cleveland or Chicago, Detroit, man, still, not getting what you need from Swift. So that's a bummer.
He's not playing.
He's just not. I don't think he's right. I don't think he's healthy.
They took his ass off the injury report, and then,
and then he paid 30% of snaps.
Yeah, they kind of been doing
that.
They
took JT off the injury report, and you're thinking, he's not healthy, and then comes out and wiles off.
Right.
But
but can you? I mean, if either of those guys are off the injury report, can you bench them?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I had no problem benching Jonathan Taylor this week after seeing how bad that ankle was and how bad a shape the Colts were in. And really, I mean, I wasn't excited to play Swift if I really had any other option. Like, it just, I know I'm a big proponent of starting the studs, but when guys aren't right, they're not right. And I didn't think JT was right either. So wrong there, but Swift would have been the right play if you could have got him out of there. The rest of this offense, pretty stagnant. St. Brown, when healthy, is just going to doo-doo on chests, and hopefully he's hopefully he's right. There was an ankle injury at the end of this game with him, and hopefully it's not a re-aggravation of any sort. I haven't really seen anything
I
on
haven't
it.
seen anything either.
But he definitely was wallowing around on the ground there. But I mean, 11 targets, 10 receptions, 119 yards. Had a couple rushes, I believe.
One rush.
And out there looking like St. Brown, looking like a top 12 receiver. Paul Williams, doing what you would expect from where you drafted him and what you can get out of Jamal Williams. He's fine, nothing sexy. Could get the job done for you if you need him to. Kind of, but not all that interested in Jamal Williams. Moving forward too much, but 16 for 60 essentially, got the touchdown, and that's really what keeps him kind of alive.
12 points, can't hate it.
Got you 12 points, and you can't hate on it. And then moving over to the Bears side of things, like I said, the running backs basically splitting it down the middle. 10 carries for Herbert, 9 carries for Montgomery. Herbert a little more efficient on his touches, 5.7. Montgomery 4.1. But then Fields, 13 carries for 147 yards. I mean, that's gonna be a tough day when your quarterback is scoring 2 touchdowns running, having 147 and taking 13 carries for really any of the running backs. You need to get the touchdown for your running backs to be worth a shit in that regard. And it's not like they're out there catching. Herbert doesn't seem to catch a lot of passes in general right now. Montgomery, only 1 target, 1 catch for 7 yards. So, but Fields again moving forward. I had Lamar on a bye. Started Fields this week. Fantastic.
It's fucking on a heater right now.
Fantasy wise, he's great. I mean,
they can't get a win, which is probably good for them, but
throwing some pretty good balls, still throwing some what are you doing balls, still making, but you like to see the progression moving forward, and there's not a whole lot of pieces necessarily around him, but the running backs are good, and Mooney's good, and Kmet's, been the most productive tight end here over the last few weeks.
Herbert did get banged up.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. Kmet, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 74 yards. My pie to the face bet for Kmet doubled up right there. I needed 40 yards per game essentially in the last 8 games here, and just almost doubled that up. So that number keeps going down, baby. Kmet was a little banged up in that game. At some point, he was wallowing around on the ground. So hopefully he's all right.
Is that your word of the day? Wallowing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's in there right now, so I don't know what's
in the
going
vernacular.
On. Yeah. But Kmet looking like what you thought you would be getting out of Kmet these last couple of games, being the first target in some games, being the second target in some other games, and being usable in the red zone, kind of picking up where him and Fields kind of left off at the end of last season. Now it took fucking 8 games to get there, but we got there. I don't know if it'll continue, but it looks good. They need somebody, and it hasn't been. Claypool just got there. Mooney's been pretty decent. Still got you just about 10 this week. Been startable for Mooney here, but this Bears offense is basically all Justin Fields, and good luck starting anybody really besides him and Cole Kmet right now. And I'm fine firing up Mooney in that second flex or your third wide receiver spot. If you don't really have any other great target hog kind of options there, and Mooney can do a big play in a day anywhere. I fired up Brock Wright in a spot where it was deeper, needed a tight end. He got the touchdown to do anything at all, but not a whole lot going on the Lions receiving core. Anything else you guys want to add to this game?
Guess not.
Yeah, I don't think so. No.
Sorry, I'm up over here in the chat. So if you hear
anything, any questions in the chat there? Anything of note?
I'm trying to get something.
So the instructions
working for Q.
I've been able to answer these questions in the chat myself.
Lati fucking da.
If you guys are following and you got your question, I need to know if it's Dynasty or Superflex. Dynasty redraft. If it's Superflex or not Superflex, I'm assuming it's PPR. You better tell me if it's not.
What about half PPR?
I don't. It's the same thing to me, basically. Maybe you give a guy a nudge here. Maybe you take the big play guy over the PPR guy, the volume guy. Maybe your A-Dot comes a little bit more into play with the half-point PPR, but I don't really care. Give me anybody that's good. But stop playing half-point PPR too, you know?
Yeah.
All right, we got a redraft question. Here we go. Trade Barkley, Olave, and Goddard. It's a lot there.
Yeah.
For CMC, Lamb, Schultz, and Watson.
I'm not trading. I'm assuming that's Christian Watson.
Deshaun Watson, sorry.
I'm not trading for a quarterback in redraft. So the first part.
He didn't specify if it was Superflex or
I
not.
feel like
I'm
it would
gonna assume
almost
it's
have to be.
I've never played in a redraft Superflex league.
I have.
I mean, good.
They quit after the first year. They switched to Superflex. The next year, they're like, let's not do that. They did 2 quarterback. You had to have 2 quarterbacks, which was dumb. I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Dynasty Warzone, what up? How does Jim Wayne get more handsome each week? I don't know. Just lucky, I guess.
Should have seen him before the show started. Wasn't very handsome then.
Yeah, I was fuming. Football talks. Let me know if that's Superflex or not. No, I just have Herbert at QB right now.
No, I'm not the first part.
So you're keeping Olave, Barkley, and Goddard
Yes.
instead of Ceedee, Lamb, and Schultz with the Deshaun Watson kicker.
Yeah.
Ceedee Lamb and
Mhm.
Schultz. Wasn't there?
And Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
So Barkley, Christian McCaffrey,
That's wash.
Olave.
Maybe not. It sounds like that
He's getting Lamb over Olave though, and then going down from Goddard to Schultz.
Oh, Schultz is in there as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
But-
I missed that part.
But if his only quarterback is Herbert,
Is he hurt?
no.
He's just not
doesn't
playing
have
well.
any weapons to throw to.
Yeah, I mean,
So, it's not Superflex?
no.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
I don't know.
I can be
don't
talked
have a
into
great
either
answer
side,
there.
but gun to my head, I'm taking the Barkley side.
Barkley, Olave, Goddard, or CMC, CeeDee Lamb, and Schultz. I think going from Olave to CeeDee Lamb is probably worth it to downgrade maybe a little bit between Barkley to CMC.
Yeah,
Yeah. Schultz healthy should get plenty of targets if it's
Yeah.
PPR.
And give me and sprinkle a little Deshaun on top of that.
I'm fine with trading it away if you
Yeah.
really feel like you need to spice things up.
Yeah.
All right, let's go Vikings Bills. Game of the week of the year.
of the century.
Yeah. Kirk D. Cousins balling out again. 357 yards, touchdown, 2 picks, but really was just making some big throws in big moments, which, sometimes you see Kirk kind of melting.
It becomes Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt. But Kirk, I thought played pretty well.
Well, when you could just throw it to Justin Jefferson, it's
I mean,
fucking
he
easy.
still made some really good throws to Justin Jefferson at really opportune times. Jefferson made, the catch of the year so far, probably for one of those to keep a drive alive.
I think the century.
Um,
Is it better than the Odell catch? Because they showed it up against it, and it was almost like the same exact extension,
I think it's a
except there was a defender with 2 hands on the ball.
yeah. I think it's a better catch than the Odell catch. The Odell catch is maybe the most overhyped catch ever.
Shit was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous, but I mean,
What's a better catch? Like
I don't have the catch Rolodex.
the catch or whatever,
Over
the-
my fucking.
It's the one with
but it was
Montana and Rice, right? What's it called?
It's like a regular
No.
season fucking game.
No, it was Montana and Dwight Clark.
Oh yeah, I just assumed it was. What's it called?
The catch.
It's the catch.
The catch.
Yeah,
The catch.
the catch. The old Swami was there to see it.
Mhm.
I believe the young Tom Brady was at that game too.
That's
Must have watched
that's when he gobbled up the Space Jam juice. Just somehow just
Yeah, Joe's
swallowed it
secret
and
stuff.
then- yeah, he was. He's all of a sudden the best. All right, so Kirk plays well. Dalvin has a decent day for you. Jefferson is just the number 1 receiver in the league, hands
Yeah.
down, no questions asked.
Yeah,
TJ Hockenson, 10 targets, 7 receptions, gives you a nice a bump on your Hawk stock. Is there any interest in trying to go get yourself a little Hockenson right now?
Depends what the asking price is, but I mean,
2 2s for Hawk?
2 2s? I'm assuming this is non-tight end premium.
We could call it tight end premium if you want.
I'm doing that deal 10 times out of 10.
Okay, so just regular PPR then.
No.
Hanging on to
Yeah.
your 2 2s.
Yeah, hanging on my 2-2.
I think he's been getting peppered here these last couple of weeks. I guess it's been 2 weeks since he's been there. Really,
2 is a
just
couple.
acclimating into the system here. I've always been a big Hawk fan. You know how good he can be. They seem desperate for another guy, another target around there. I'm fine giving up the 2 2s. I want a tight end who's getting big time targets because it's such a desperate position to be in. Now 7 for 45 isn't the best day ever, but the fact that there was 10 and then 7 catches on top of that, I'll take that all day. We saw it last week. I think it was like 9 for 90.
Yeah.
And he's just getting there. 11 targets for KJ Osborne. Big time stuff over there. Deeper leagues, maybe a little KJ Osborne could be good for you. Going over to the Bills side, Gabe Davis has a nice game for you after I called him a fancy MVS last week, which he did kind of, 9 for 6, 93 yards, touchdown. You still into Gabe?
Yeah.
What?
Are you still into Gabe?
My son Gabriel?
Because this is a nice.
That's what I was waiting for.
I know. This is a nice. If I could move off here, I'd move off.
I mean, you were last week on the ranking show. You were like, I think I'm out. So one game's probably not going to change it for you there.
Just let him out. Then pull me back in again.
No, I'm just waiting for these games like this to happen so I could try to get it back. We have them
we were trying to ship them off for early first last.
We were trying to ship
season.
them on for any
in
first.
early first.
We tried to get a lot of different firsts.
For any
We almost had the early.
We sent a first to the entire league.
Oh, I remember this. We talked about this.
Didn't get it. We got it. We were close in a couple of things.
We were throwing in something else, trying to get this guy's potentially early first.
Then right in the beginning of the year, we almost had. I would have made the trade for Gabe Davis to I forget exactly what the terms of the deal were, but it was Damian Pierce, and a Khalil Herbert for Gabe Davis and some picks, and that's a good team we have there. So I would have done it. Big Co and Jay Wayne were.
Was it a first?
Not feeling it.
I only remember the first discussion.
But I'd be trying to move Gabe Davis in that league right now. We just lost Waller for probably the year. Hadn't had him most of the year, so we kind of need a tight end. Turn it into, a decent receiver plus some picks would be nice, and then maybe take those picks and go buy a tight end or something. But Gabe Davis, this is a nice potential move off spot for me. Diggs is just
crushing,
absolutely slaying it. Me and Big Co have some FFPC teams been trying to move Diggs. Can't quite get the value for Diggs. Why do you think people
perceive him as old?
Right, I guess, but I mean, I still see people getting decent value for some older wide receivers in some other leagues. It's odd to me that it's almost as if you don't know that he's like the number 3 wide receiver in the league. If he's not on your team, is it just not being talked about enough, by the big time people, that he is that good? Was averaging, I think, 23.5 or 24 points per game, and he dropped 27.8, so that average, potentially going up a hair. I mean, that's top. He's basically top 3 in all fantasy point, kind of whichever way you want to slice it. So, yeah. I mean, why no proper value on Stephon Diggs is kind of.
I don't have a good answer for that question.
Why are you saying there's not proper value?
Because I mean, we've been shopping them for 3-4 weeks now, and every time we send something out, it's just it's an okay wide receiver and not even a first, a 2 and a 3 or something like that.
That's what you get as offers.
That's what we get back when we send out, Diggs for, a middle tier receiver and like a first or something like that. Because we're losing. We're sending them out to good teams who are trying to win. So we're trying to get their first and an okay receiver from them. So theoretically, we're getting a worse receiver, putting a better receiver on your team, probably making your first better in that your team got better.
Yeah.
That even seems like I'm not dying to do that, but like on a team where we're on a full teardown,
yeah,
let me get a first and a younger player. Like Olave in a first out of line for Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Like which way?
I'd rather have Olave.
You'd rather have Olave in a first? Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably, if you're a winning team, and it's a late first.
That's what I'm saying. We're a losing team. We're trading it into a winning. Like nobody's getting. Like, obviously, we're not trading to a losing team at this point in the season. Stephon Diggs, you're trading him to one of the top probably 4 teams in the league. So that first is,
it's more the Olave side than the first for me, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah,
well, sure. But Diggs is only 28, and it's that doesn't sound great. But I think people think he's older than he is. I would have probably guessed 29. But
29?
He's only 28, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down. Like him and Josh Allen have it figured out together. He's probably gonna. Imagine if you're like competing, you're a good team right now, and you throw Diggs on top of that.
Well, that's what I'm like. That's Olave's a little been the last few games haven't been as great on the game log, but we know what could possibly be with Olave.
Yeah, the quarterback situation is hot garbage.
Sure.
But he did get some competition for targets back this week with Landry.
It would seem to me that if I were trying to win right now and had a really good team, like I would rather have the number 3 receiver and give away my first and maybe the guy who I picked from winning the league last year at the end of the first and try to win again. Like, and it's not like Diggs is going to die. And I'll take my chances with, maybe I lost Olave, but I'm going to try to go ahead and win right now and get 24 points a game rather than, I don't know what Olave at this point. The average is probably going down. It was probably in the 14s. It's probably getting closer down to the 11s and 10s at this point. But we know that there's big plays available for Olave. Some luster's fallen off a little bit.
Sure.
Let's just try to find a better another name like.
Olave's averaging 13.7 points a game.
13.7.
Whereas Diggs is the number 2. Score averaging 24 points a game, just behind Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, so I don't have another good one, but let's not get too bogged down on that. It was just one of those guys we talked at the end of the receiver show last week. I was like, I think a good segment would be players you need to send screenshots of game logs to when you're sending out trade, and like fucking if you don't have Diggs on your team, if you don't have Mike, like people are like Mike Evans sucks, like. Can't trade Mike Evans. Like nobody will give me anything but like a fucking 2 for Mike Evans, which seems asinine when the guy's in your line. Like you can't ask for a better like wide receiver fucking 2 in your lineup right now if you're trying to win. He's averaging like 15, 16 points a game. And it's like I just feel like, well, the Bucs suck right now. So, Mike Evans sucks and he's old. And it's like
I had one Mike Evans and I traded him a few weeks ago. So
yeah,
I'm not having that problem.
I've been trying to trade him pretty much all season in a league where I'm in a rebuild and haven't had any success packaging him or selling him solo. It feels like those kind of guys, unless they're on your team, like they don't get a whole lot of hype because they're a little bit maybe on the older side or on right now the Bucs are, everyone wants to tell you how terrible they are. And it's like, but if you're watching the games, Evans is
he's just consistent.
Right.
You can pretty much put him in for anywhere from 12 to 15 points a week.
Right. And it could be, if he catches
another, not the floor,
right? And if he catches another touchdown, lights out. So I feel like he's one of those game log kind of receivers. Nothing really to do here with much of the running backs. Nyheim Hines,
thank you,
Hines, and our guy. It was the battle of the Cook brothers, and Dalvin clearly still a superior Cook. James Cook got 5 carries, 22 yards. Again, I don't think he looks terrible. It's just, Singletary opportunities, getting 13 for 47, got 2 touchdowns, had a fumble in this game, and then caught a couple of balls. I think Singletary's pretty good. Just the worst thing about this Bills offense is really any running back, unless he scores touchdowns, is really hard to get solely behind and feel good about.
Yeah, because they're not catching any passes. So
right, and which you thought that was the whole reason that you're bringing in Cook, and then you bring in obviously Hines just got there, so we're not sure, but clearly they had this idea of that they want a guy like that, but it just I don't know if the game just gets away from them, and then they're like, well, we're just gonna throw it to Diggs a bunch.
I think it's so that you think that they might not throw it to Diggs because we got all these pass catching. Yeah,
right. So anyway, anything else on that game?
I got nothing.
Righty then.
You guys want to hit some questions real quick?
Sure.
Well, what do the peons have?
Oh, Jesus. Let's see. 10-team redraft league, full PPR, not Superflex. Appreciate the details, man. That makes it so much easier. He's 7-3, RG. I got offered Kelsey if I give up D-Hop and Goddard. You got to do that, right?
I mean, is it tight end premium?
He didn't specify. I'm assuming probably not. I've never seen a tight end premium redraft league to your Superflex tight end redraft league.
I don't exactly know where Kelsey's at points per game wise. I'm sure he's tight end wise. He's way up there, but Goddard's got to be.
Yeah, and Hopkins just fucking 10 for 100.
Right. I mean, I think I'm okay with hanging on to the 2 assets there over the Kelsey asset.
Kelsey's averaging 20.8 points a game.
Is that tight end premium or not tight end premium?
That's not tight end premium.
Well, that's pretty strong.
That's a fuck ton.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, take Kelsey. Move on.
All right.
Yeah, because Hollywood's gonna be back in a couple weeks. So
yeah,
even though Rondale's been
we'll get there in a minute.
Are we gonna talk about?
We don't have to talk about the game, but I definitely want to talk
about that shit.
I definitely want to talk about Rondale. That was on.
All right, carry on.
Jeremy Johnson asked, any merit to overpaying in a trade to try and help the health of the league by not letting a team fade into nothing?
No.
I was like, can you give me some more details? Like,
no.
You're not the team fading nothing, right?
I'm not that trying, person and replace them.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even you know what helps the league? Cut the buy-in in half, or give them a free buy-in or whatever to help the league to get somebody in there. A new person.
I've been in leagues where that has happened, and it's helped the league immensely.
I don't need
dead weight. Don't overpay. Just
take your poverty franchise and get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, Max asks us. He says, "What's up? Love the show. Who do you prefer rest of season? CPAT, Foreman, or Gus Edwards?" Foreman is balling right now. We skipped pretty much over that game. I wanted to ask a little why so hold with Donta Foreman, because he's like, could he be the? I mean, could he be the guy there next year? I mean, did he just squash Achilles injuries returning?
I don't know that there's any. You're not. Rest of season is a good question. I don't know that I'm doing. If I got Foreman and I'm winning, then I'm keeping and rolling with it. And if I don't, then he's fucking gone. He played
in Dynasty. He's talking about, but I'm sure this rest of season is a redraft question.
He played really well at the end of last season. I think he's a good player. He's just a little older, and he's got a bad injury that doesn't have the highest probability of coming back from. Now it took him a while, and he seems to be back. We had Chuba with a bit of an injury, and then maybe a slow build back. So maybe he might eat into a little bit of the carries. But I mean, Foreman. I think I gotta lean CPAT rest of the season, but Foreman last year was a good part of being a league wiener, and I don't really trust either team. So
I don't trust it. Yeah, I don't trust any of those teams.
But the Panthers seem to have at least like some
going back to Baker now.
Juice.
Yeah, they're going back to Baker again.
Yeah, well. I don't know, man. That's a tough one.
Well, they said PG Walker has a high ankle sprain, so that's why.
I think I like the PPR upside of
I'm going CPAT as well.
CPAT there, but it's close. I could flip a coin between. I mean, Foreman could definitely be the league winner, and then who was the other one?
Gus.
The Gus bus. Yeah, I mean, it could be great, but I mean that's a mess in the running back scene over there. For great fucking throw.
And that's why I keep Terry McLaurin.
It's a little bit of a mess in the running back scene over there. So I think I would edge CPAT slightly.
You're edging him, huh?
To the top.
I'd
slide him to the top ever so slightly. But Foreman's right there, man. Initially I thought this was an easier question, but Foreman.
I think it's easily CPAT, Foreman, and then just tier down to Gus.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Would you buy Deebo Samuel for like a 1.6 to 110 pick next year? I think Deebo is probably a nice buy low right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not spending. I'm probably going to pass
A
on
mid
that.
first, mid to late first.
Is it Superflex?
I mean,
it matters.
There's
It
two
definitely
guys,
matters.
so it changes it to like 1.8.
But the NFL is going to overpay for these guys in the first, and they're going to get moved back up to Superflex boards.
I mean, they didn't overpay for guys this past draft. Maybe they're kind of shying away from guys that aren't really worth it.
Let's hope so.
Well, there's it's probably
It's a 1 QB league.
Okay. Thank you for
He
clarifying.
specified. Sorry, Lufty, you got my bad.
It's not because Deebo isn't worth it. I don't know what the usage is going to be. Like, you went from a guy with all pro usage and obviously all pro talent, and now you just have
like Ajax the guy.
You have so much going on there that I just feel like there's going to be a lot of volatility from game to game. It'll be so I think I'll probably just hang on to the one.
Yeah, I think I'm there too.
Damn. Deebo's really falling off. Don't buy him for mid to late one.
It's not any falling off for me. I wasn't buying high this year, and
I think he was a sell for me all last year. He just wasn't sustainable with all the rushing production.
Yeah, but I mean, even if he regressed a little bit, it would have been fine. But this is a lot of regression.
It's not a. It wouldn't have been fine
hurt.
For what you were paying for him in the offseason.
No, but like to just keep him on your team.
Yeah, but I mean, it's no indictment on Deebo as the player.
It's more of a problem with the 49ers offense.
It's just that there's a lot of options, and I liked what they were kind of doing in parts of in this last game here, the Niners that is. But I think I'm just gonna stay the course without Deebo there.
Just curiosity, what is Fields' net now worth in Superflex Dynasty League?
Firstborn son.
Bought him at a way cheaper price than I think he said a late first in Bateman is what he paid for Justin Fields. I mean,
would it seem like that was like a high price tag?
Why would you
at the time when you maybe bought him? If you bought him in the beginning of the season,
Superflex,
yeah, I mean,
he's probably a 4th round starter pick, 3rd.
Yeah,
round
but I mean,
pick.
by a few games in, it was like, what the fuck's going on with the Bears?
Yeah,
value probably down quite a bit. It looked like, depending on who you talk to, there's a real good chance that the Bears are just done with him, and that they didn't give him any help. So
I mean, he's still like a 3rd or 4th round starter pick. You can't get that guy for like 2 1s. I mean, maybe you can. I guess you can maybe get him for 2 1s. I don't know if everyone was paying a 1 for Bateman. Probably for the most part.
Yeah, late.
So maybe, but regardless, it's worth probably more than that.
I'm saying now
right?
that would be a semi-cheap price tag. I'm saying a few weeks ago, I feel like that was probably a proper price tag. But I mean, I'm probably not that interested in going
and selling Fields right now.
Well, I'm probably not buying. I'm not spending too much more than
he has Fields. So
right.
He's wondering what
I'm
he's
just saying,
worth to maybe what should get in return.
That's what I'm driving at. It's like, I don't know that I'm trying. I guess if you could get 2 1s, I'd move off of Fields. But
really,
yeah, sure.
I don't know if I'd do that.
Dude's like showing you what his ceiling is. Like,
yeah.
And it's
it's certainly
astronomical.
Whatever is going on right now is certainly not sustainable. So we need to see growth in play style. Like the fantasy wise, it's great. How long can the way he's playing right now really last? I don't really know. I think seems like a good player. He has all the tools. Can it move forward? Can the system develop? Can it not get stale over there? Can they build properly in Chicago? There's a lot of unanswered questions for me to really be okay. He's had some great rushing fantasy weeks the last couple of weeks. Awesome. I don't know that really settles me into him being, great long-term fantasy-wise, and there's no shade at it. It's more of, again, the organization than Fields that I'm more concerned about to properly bring him along and be worth get into the elite of the elite quarterback club. So I mean, once you get into those big time quarterbacks, it's just like any other big time player. It's 3 firsts, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying right now Fields is just 1 first off of those elite of the elites? I guess that's kind of what I'm saying.
Okay, so would you rather have Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields?
Fields.
Similar situations organizationally, so neither one makes me comfortable moving forward with
I didn't ask you if you're
franchise
comfortable with them.
quarterback. Yeah, so I mean,
I feel pretty comfortable with Fields. I mean,
it's pretty close. That'd be
I don't
pretty
need
close
45 points a game from him. Just half that. I'd be fucking.
That'd be pretty close.
Yeah,
that's pretty close for me.
I think I'd give the bump to Fields just because of the rushing.
Yeah, T-Law's got the hidden 40 rush yards a game in there. He's pretty athletic and can get you those the enough to not be an elite running guy, but help catch up to some of those.
It buoys that a little bit.
You see from both guys the arm talent and really pop at certain points in the game. Like T-Law, a few times a game makes these ridiculous, effortless throws, and Fields same way. I feel a little bit better about Jacksonville than the supporting cast, but that could change very quickly in Chicago as well, to be right on par with, nobody was in love with the supporting cast for Jacksonville in the offseason. Christian Kirk overpay, Zay Jones overpay, Evan Ingram retread that wasn't any good, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden those guys,
they're half decent. I mean,
they're not well, so a whole lot better than what's going on in Chicago.
Sure,
and the effort was there.
I think the effort will be there.
I think so too. I think you got to lead Fields right now because of the rushing upside.
So would you rather have Fields or the Superflex 101 next year?
The 101 for sure.
Second for Zach Ertz, right? That's like
just no.
Wait,
thinking forward,
he's out the rest of the season,
right? But I mean, I guess you're probably thinking
no.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. All right, that's all the questions I got.
So everybody's on the Field side, not the T-Law side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Go Tigers.
Yeah.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, this is really close for me. I guess slight lean Fields right now.
Just looks like he's like playing much better. I mean, he like not the T-Law can't, but it's like the Bears are like losing despite what Fields is putting him in position to win. I don't know. T-Law he just can't put him in position to win. He's just making some bonehead plays and like it just seems like something's a little off. Not that he can't fix itself. The
difference between those two things is Fields is basically just running around and putting them. He's not actually playing football. It seems like
he's throwing touchdowns.
T-Law is he's
T-Law's throwing red zone interceptions.
T-Law is making some really. But I'm not defending Trevor Lawrence. I'm just saying stylistically, when you watch the game, one guy looks like he's operating a system, and the other guy looks like he's playing backyard football. And I'm not saying that can't work because
making it look
it certainly can,
almost.
And it's just how that develops can go one way or another really quickly. And I it's close for me still. I'll give the nod to Fields right now because I believe they both have big upside in their passing ability. So I can lean slightly with Fields. I guess it blows my mind that like a few weeks ago, you were pretty out on Justin Fields, and because of a couple of really big fantasy performances, now Fields is like a godsend all of a sudden.
Well,
And
it was a huge fucking difference between week 3 and week 10.
But it's really not that big of a difference. He's just running around and
he's gonna be the
crazy
quarterback
plays
there in the future. Like they're not gonna like get rid of him.
Sure.
And I didn't know if that was the case in week 3, so I was willing to pivot off of Fields, not knowing what his future is. Now he's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere.
I mean,
he's shown that he can play well enough despite all the things that they have not done for him.
What he's doing right now is the whole reason that you were interested in drafting him from a fantasy football perspective.
Correct.
That's why you want Anthony Richardson, on your team.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts.
I mean, that's why you want now. Jalen Hurts is a good example. It's like, Philly,
Lamar Jackson
and Baltimore are both very different organizations than what the Chicago Bears have been over the last however many years. So that's
1986,
right?
Or 85.
So that's really the biggest pause for me moving forward. I think Fields has all the talent and ability in the world. It's just, will they put him in the best position to succeed and not just have to be, every single thing for that offense and eventually just be a detriment to his growth, and not really be able to get to the next level. And we've seen Jalen Hurts be able to take that to the next level, by putting all the pieces around him and being, well groomed and a big part of it is, and I'm not saying Fields seems to have a little bit different attitude than Jalen Hurts as well. Jalen Hurts has notoriously been a guy who puts in
seems like a hard hat,
asinine amount of work and wants to be great. I don't know that to be true about Fields or not. It could be. I just don't know. And he just seems to have a little bit more of a temperament about him than maybe Hurts did.
Probably all that soy.
What's that?
Probably all that soy.
Probably all that soy. It's just not good for you, man. All right. Move on. Let's go to Kansas City, Jacksonville. Mostly really, Christian Kirk having another great game here. Slowed down there for a minute, but has bounced back really well. ETN got you 10 points. Still looked fine in that game. Marvin Jones, Evan Ingram, fine. Zay Jones, big targets. Looked pretty decent out there.
Wasn't fine for Mark Ingram or Evan Ingram and Marvin Jones from
no,
statistical standpoint.
Not really. They looked okay out on the field, rather, when watching that game.
Jones had that really nice catch, but other than that, not much.
Really, on the other side of this, it's just, for me wanting to talk about Kadarius Toney. I mean, this is the whole reason why you drafted him, why you wanted to have patience with him. It's
you wanted to have flex with him.
It's why it's whether or not the head can be on right. Now Kansas City seems to have a little bit of a longer leash for guys and maybe let them be themselves a little bit more.
I'd much rather catch passes from Patrick Mahomes and Daniel Jones too. So
for sure,
I'm sure he's probably a little bit more willing to put the work in Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, after you see the Giants going in the way that they were going, though, I don't know how your mindset doesn't, or is it just sour already?
I think you could have been soured. I mean,
I don't love that. You can't get over that.
I mean, there's been grumblings from them since before the season even started.
And it could be mutual. You know, like, hey, this isn't just going to work, so we're going to kind of do this. And but
his hamstring's fucking fine.
Kadarius
clearly
comes out there and for all the reasons that you wanted to hang on to him, for all the reasons if you watch football, and there's a lot of people like, has there been anybody in the history of the league who over one game has held so much value from that one game? Like, I don't know if there was, but those couple of games and couple of passes that you saw that man catch is the only reason why you kept fucking coming. And you saw it in this game almost immediately as him taking the field. Now, the touchdown that he scored, I mean, easy as it can get, but that's also part of being in that Kansas City offense. And no Hardman, and
I mean, Toney is what they want Hardman to be,
right? And Hardman's been getting some handoffs and scoring some decent fantasy points for you. in the last couple of weeks. So no Hardman this week. Juju gets knocked out figuratively
God.
and literally.
Whew.
Hope he's all right. He's been having a nice, quiet season. He's probably a game log trader if you don't have him. But Kadarius just on the sideline pass where he's spinning away from somebody, bouncing off of somebody, and barely getting tackled, and then just really elevating above everybody and making a grab. He adjusted his glove like in midair while going to make that grab.
I happened to look at the comments on that, and the top comment was from former Cowboys great Bryce Butler saying that this happens all the time and that it's nothing special.
Maybe it does, and maybe it doesn't. It's just the fact that Kadarius.
I just thought it was funny that the top comment was from Bryce Butler.
Bum. But
well, if you saw Kadarius Toney at the Senior Bowl like I did, then you knew he could do that easily.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
shout out to Ridley Truther. He said he's a Senior Week god.
Yeah.
I don't think he was at the Senior Bowl, right? He's a 20-year-old dude.
But this is the reason.
I saw him there. Senior Bowl.
That performance is the reason why you hung on to Kadarius Toney and why you're super excited that you in redraft you probably dropped him, but hopefully you scooped him back up right as this news came out. It's nice to have him on the bottom of that roster and just
he was at the Senior Bowl, by the way,
kind of pop up.
Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
he's 23. Okay, so yeah, he's a little old.
I mean, I'm sure there's the people who didn't like him and say that has there been anybody got more long of a leash that Kadarius Toney had than the player has than what Kadarius Toney did in a few games and a few catches. I'm sure those people are telling you to sell. I'm telling you absolutely not to fucking sell.
No.
There's probably some ridiculous offers out there. I mean, I was like my first. You still talking about Toney? Sorry, I got caught up in the comments there for a second. I had this discussion. We did a live chat thing in our Discord channel for one of the Thursday night games right after he got traded and was chatting with some people in the Discord channel. Shout out to the Pleasure Chesters. And if you guys are looking for some more content, more access to the Discord channel, go over to patreon.com/FF Dynasty. And I was like, I'm absolutely not selling Kadarius Toney. Like, no matter what, I'm fucking holding on because I fucking love this guy. I got him at a discount.
All
everywhere.
The price points pretty much were pretty cheap that I bought in on Toney.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, even in the rookie draft, you're paying a mid-second.
Right.
At the same time, sometimes even like a late because, people just wanted to hate and not, I think in the UDPO, I guess that's Superflex. We got him pretty late in the second. Actually, I think we bought him, traded him away, and then bought him back when we couldn't get the guy we wanted and ended up with Toney. Now you see what it could be, and it did definitely help that Juju went out and he was kind of forced into the lineup there, but you saw him making some ridiculous plays. But at the same time, it's like if you could, is that enough? So I could see selling before you saw anything from him because I thought it was going to be a minute before you could buy Kadarius, before you could like really capitalize or see what it could be with the Chiefs. Like a lot of people came out and were like, this isn't an indictment on Sky Moore. This is a plan for next year. And, which it definitely is sort of an indictment on Sky Moore. He didn't come in and crush it when Juju went out.
I thought he was going to be so.
This jury's still out on Sky Moore, but like,
yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily too worried about that.
Definitely
if you can buy
Sky Moore, but
if you can buy Kadarius Toney for all the cheap, that doesn't make. We're all literally sitting here oogling over the ridiculous ability of Kadarius Toney, and then it's an indictment on if you can get that guy. The Chiefs are just fucking good at fucking playing this goddamn game. If you can get a guy like that for fucking pennies on the dollar of what he's probably worth, if you can get him to not be a fucking idiot on the outside of not being on the field, you fucking do it. I don't give a shit who you just got in the draft.
Yeah, and they didn't really pay. It was like a third and a sixth, so it's like nothing for the first round talent. And Andy Reid knows how to deal with these guys and can somehow rein them in. And if he can keep his shit together, I don't know how awesome it's going to be. Is this going to be the case moving forward? Probably not. It's probably going to take a little bit longer.
I'm sure this is week 2,
but you can see the ceiling. So you're not selling. You're holding tight.
I'm chilling. Unless somebody wants to give me a really good first for Kadarius Toney, I'm fucking chilling. This is
no one's giving you a first Toney right now.
I'm good. I don't want your fucking 112 or 110 either. I'm fucking hanging on. I want a guy like Kadarius Toney at 10 or 12 in the draft. That could be fucking a league winner. That's what I want. And that's what he possibly is. And all of a sudden he's in one of the top 3 situations in the fucking league. What are we kidding ourselves here? Like, let's go. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Here's a good question for you. Would you rather have, I think I know the answer here. Would you rather have Toney or Jameson Williams?
Probably Jameson Williams.
Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page there.
Really?
Yeah, that's an easy one for me.
Why?
Well, they're basically kind of the same, cut from the same cloth of being just ridiculously game-breaking ability.
Yeah.
And one guy is probably not as much of a liability as the other guy, and did it on a huge scale and at a huge level and was really a big difference maker. And if he wasn't hurt right now, that's really the only advantage I could maybe give to Toney, is that one guy's not coming off an ACL, but he probably could have been, we don't know, but the first receiver taken and be potentially blowing the league up right now. So I mean, I think they're kind of cut from the same cloth from what you're hoping to get, the electricity that both of them can generate for your team and just be game ruiners, game records. The landing spot gives you some hope for Toney, but the first round pick and not rushing him back, and really, the Lions, the fact that, I think maybe we're trying to move forward with that franchise. And what if they do get CJ Stroud? What if they do get a good quarterback? What if
it's a thong?
What if
it's lace? What if it's something crazy I don't even know about?
What if they get some decent quarterback play all of a sudden? And not that Goff is terrible, but
I mean, he certainly has his limitations.
Right. You want something a little better than that, but I'd probably go Jameson Williams there.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the Lions maybe taking a stab on one of these guys who are maybe need a season to maturate.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. What a Bo Nix.
Yeah, I mean, maybe obviously in the later rounds.
Yeah, maybe in the second or something like that.
I can't figure out if he I was pretty sure he was terrible, and then he's played some decent ball here over the last.
Awful last year. I remember watching
he looked awful game.
He looked awful
most of his career.
I mean, maybe this is more of an indictment about how bad Auburn is as a university football team.
Well, it could be about how bad of an indictment Pac-12 defenses are as well.
Valid point.
Not saying either is right or wrong, but
little column A, little column B.
Has been pretty good this year though. Like, I can't even hate. On Knicks.
Try some of column A. Try all of column B. Huh? Let's squeeze this question in here from Ridley Truth.
All right, I got 2 more places I want to go, and then I'm out of here.
Would you boys move T-Law for Deshaun Watson in a 12-team Superflex retooling squad?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to.
Yeah.
All right, easy one. Consensus.
All right, let's go Cowboys.
Go
Let's go Cowboys pack. Not a whole lot I necessarily want to talk about here. Obviously, but Ceedee Lamb, we did the rankings last week and said, if he could just get back on track to being a 20-point-a-game guy and not a 14-point-a-game guy, then it wouldn't take much. And here we are.
There he is.
It might take a couple of 2 TD games, and he was like, well, how about I'll do 1 right now?
Yeah.
And we'll throw on
just
10 catches and 150 yards.
It gives you
40 points.
The reminder that he can be one of the better receivers in the league. It just seems like it's just not always like he's like, maybe the want to isn't quite there to be up in the upper echelon consistently.
Is that an indictment on him? I feel like that's
worries.
A Cowboys thing. No,
I don't think so at all. Like they no problem targeting him. Sometimes he seems like he could be doing better out there, for himself and maybe putting in a little bit. I question the want to be great. Like, I don't really know anything about it. I don't follow it along. Maybe he's just putting in an asinine amount of work. I don't know. But it just seems like, there's just one little bit of ingredient missing to really take it up to the next level and be one of the better guys super consistently. But the talent is certainly there. The targets are there, I think. So Obviously, they lose this game, but you know, that was he got that was pass interference at the end of that game with Jair on him. He was definitely there early, and you could have got that flag. And then McCarthy gets the headset slam, which really makes me happy because I really don't like Mike McCarthy very much.
Does anybody like Mike McCarthy?
Aaron Rodgers said he loved him, I think, at the end of the game. So
he definitely gave him a nice
That's why
big
Taylor
hug and
Heineke
smile.
wasn't a starting quarterback anymore.
dumb play right there.
Yeah.
Up big on the road with against the Birds. Just don't do that. Just don't do that.
Against the Birds.
Against the Birds. Put the Birds in the bowl. Obviously a nice another game from Tony Pollard here. Sans.
Yeah,
Zeke.
weren't you hating on Pollard by the way?
I not necessarily. What the stance on Pollard for me is he's never been great without Zeke in the lineup, and now he's been great the last 2 games without Zeke in the lineup. So I mean, I got nothing else to really say about it. I think he's played pretty well. He's looked pretty good. I would say that maybe they could have used Zeke a little bit in this game to do what Zeke does. I also have said they both serve fucking purposes on this team. Like one guy does one thing, another guy does another. But Tony was good, has been very good in these games and has looked great.
You know who has not looked great for the Dallas Cowboys? Michael Gallup.
Yeah, he looks like he's still bothered by something there. Hasn't looked great. Schultz right back to doing what Schultz does.
Sure.
8 to 6 targets, the 40 to 50 yards and touchdown, but probably cost them a pick in this game in the end zone. Looked like him and Ceedee wanted him to do something different and was kind of yelling at him a little bit on the sideline of, hey, just go, just do this. And somebody got tangled up on some sort of a crossing release deal, and Dak threw it right in there and threw a pick. But for sure, shout out to Tony Pollard for crushing. And you know, I've been playing him as much as I could. I traded him last week. I traded him and Zeke for Javonte Williams in a 2 on a rebuilding team. So got rid of Tony. I mean, he's going to be 26 and needs a contract. So, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the Cowboys bring him back. Maybe he goes somewhere else. No idea. But seems like you may have, you know, lost some of the really high end opportunity of the youth combination.
Sure.
With him. So, but yeah, has been absolutely great. And I've got no problem saying, I'm just saying what I had seen before, and it really hadn't happened. And now these last 2 have been great. But they're probably still going to bring Zeke back and probably still going to run Zeke in these next couple of games. So they're paying him. They're going.
Jerry Jones loves Zeke.
Pretty much going to use him. And really, I mean, you know, like I said, they do serve 2 different purposes at this point in their careers. But really, Christian Watson is the story of this game.
Sure, he has to. Yeah,
we said a few weeks ago on this show that, you know, the value's low. Go buy him. There's opportunity there. Didn't love him in the process coming out because he was being pushed up so high and put on a pedestal. Everything's kind of lining up right now. They got a lot of injuries. He, in the game when he came back, right when was dancing around the concussion issue and coming off the other injury, had a couple of plays in there where he looked really, really quick, really fast, big. Obviously opened up the season with a big drop. And in this game, he finally kind of put it all together, got the targets, got the touchdowns. Obviously, I'm not expecting 3 touchdown games.
I mean, that's almost bad, right? He has to regress. He can't. It's too many touchdowns to targets. I mean, it's like that's a bad thing, right?
I guess
Can't have too many touchdowns. Analytics people will get mad.
What you did like to see is the amount of targets, and you know there were still a drop or 2 in there with him, and 8 targets, 4 receptions, 107 yards. He gives them an element that they didn't have, and that's ability to get over the top of defenses, which, you know, Dubs can do, can do, but
Sammy Watkins do it like 5 years ago.
Yeah, But Watson gives you
10 years
that
ago.
next, there's nothing, you don't have to do anything like, hey, Bo, go out there and just run down the field. I'm going to throw it up. Like you can do that a couple of times a game. It gives you MVS plus, it seems like a little bit here with Christian Watson.
Jesus, stop with the MVS.
I'm saying for that team.
But he does drop it.
I'm saying for that team, that's what
He's like Gabe Davis.
gives you ability to take the top off. And if there was a couple of those intermediate routes where he made some nice grabs, and moving forward, if that's how you're gonna use him, and he can be involved, 8 targets a game, I'll take that all day from the Christian Watson. Obviously, there's no chance you're buying him after this game. It's a 425 game. It's a game of the week.
Yeah,
everybody's watching this one.
One of them was irrelevant.
Awful.
At the end of the season, in any rookie drafts, I was buying Christian Watson, and any startup drafts, I was buying Christian Watson for this reason right here.
Well, not for the late first.
He had no. Well, he wasn't going there. The value was pushed down by the end of redraft, or by the end of rookie draft season.
Yeah.
And everybody was out on him because he was banged up and there wasn't anything going on.
And everything was dubs in the preseason.
Yeah, yada yada yada. And when that happens, and it's not that I dislike the raw ability of give me 4'3", big, tall,
6'5"
fella there, with tied to Aaron Rodgers potentially for 2 years. Like, yeah, of course I want that. I don't want to elevate that raw ability up so high that it doesn't make that much sense. But once it gets to a price point that I'm into, then I'm all in. And me and Big Co had a long discussion in the draft that we had, and he pretty much was like, oh, I don't know that nobody likes Christian Watson anymore all of a sudden, and what are we going to do? We're strictly at this point in the draft looking for guys that we can buy and then resell. And I'm like, dude, there is no other guy out here that can give you what Christian Watson is about to give you, and then the resale value be through the roof. And like the whole game, him and I are just going back and forth like, this is this is exactly what I wanted to happen. Was a fucking big blow up game to show you how big and fast he is, and then he cuts the backflip to show you how fucking athletic this guy is.
The backflip was nice,
and it's a game where everybody's fucking watching. And now you get the replays of it over and over and over again all week long.
Lambeau
and
Leap.
now this is for that
I struggled a little bit on that one.
particular team. The whole purpose of buying him was to sell him. Now it's obviously with a bunch of patrons, and they're hearing this right now. But I'm sure it's not, disparaging them from coming to get their Christian Watson if they really want it. Now most people are going to say you want more than just this one, but
yeah.
The value flip on Watson was so easy, and so good by the end of the season to see that, like, and then even in the season, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was like, hey, go grab him if you can, and go grab him in redraft if you can. There's a potential league winner, and you probably could have got him for a 2 all day up until this game right here.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout, whether you played an end of the first round first for him, or maybe you got him at the top of the second, somebody was probably willing to move on from Watson to recoup that too. And now no more. As it's for sure, I'm going to assume that if any trades are going down with Watson right now, they involve a 1. And I don't think, because you're not getting a 2, probably not 2 2s. Great value with some great flippability there with Watson. I'm not saying definitely 100% flip him, but I'm going to be looking
to flip
him in the leagues that I bought him for. The purpose,
get a first for him
for the purpose of exactly like that was the purpose that I was purchasing him, was to do that. So it looks.
And so you're trying to get a first? You would do that?
If somebody would give me a first right now, depending on where it was and what it was, maybe. I don't know that anybody in leagues are going to do that right this minute. There's somebody right now that got that has happened.
Sure.
But I don't think we need a little bit more. But this is, if it's just a couple of 4 for $60s, that's the value will continue, even if it's not awesome like this one was.
Yeah. Just
to see the usage and him scoring points week after week. We'll then go ahead and stamp that, where people are going to go, hey, but there's that 107-3 game, and then a couple of these other games and some touchdowns mixed in there. Yeah, of course I want Christian Watson. Look at how great this is going to be for, however, I don't know how old Christian Watson is. I don't think he's terribly old. Obviously, he's a
23,
rookie, but
a little old for a rookie. But
so anyway, any other? Let's hit Arizona, LA. I don't really want to talk about the game, but Rondale Moore has been having a nice stretch here. I don't have the game log in front of me.
I think he's had like a 30% target share the last couple of weeks.
And obviously didn't have the rookie campaign that you were looking for, but
no, he did not.
And I believe, I'll be interested to see what happens when Hollywood comes back, where he plays. But I think he was on the outside at least some in this game.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested. I haven't broken it down yet, but I was while I was watching some of that Cardinals game and some red zone and seeing the totals from Rondale. He's been very startable.
10, 4, 23, 15, 18 in the last 5 weeks.
And the targets have been pretty high.
13 the week before that. Since week 5, he's at 8, 10, 2, 8, 10, 13 for targets.
So, I mean, there's some great play there. What would be the price tag on selling and or buying Rondale for you guys? I know he's a player that both Jason and I were really liked.
Yeah, I liked him a lot too.
Basically going into it, though, were the Cardinals going to put him in a position to be good and use him properly?
And last year, they obviously did.
They did not. But
still only 22.
What's the value?
Probably, if you were trying to trade him, you'd have to send the game log along with it.
Yeah.
No one's going to believe it or care. So I think if you have him, you're probably just excited about it. You're finally getting some value back from what you paid for him, which was probably like a late first,
late first, early second,
or decent discount in the startup. So maybe if you wanted to try and flip him for that, I mean, you're probably holding for a 2, right?
No way I'm selling for a 2.
Yeah,
and you can't get the 1.
No.
Do a 1-2 swap. Sell Toney, give up the 2, get the 1 back.
Or
not Toney, sorry, Rondale.
Or get a nice little or try and get a nice little bump. Try to give him and a 2 to get something.
Move up from Rondale.
Yeah, get a little upgrade.
You gotta send that game log. Would you buy Toney? Would you? I just keep saying Toney.
Would you sell Rondale for Toney?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
I mean, if you're not selling Toney for anything better than like a decent 1, then why wouldn't you give up Rondale?
Yeah, I think I'd rather have Toney as well. There's an easier path to long-term targets.
D-Hop's old, so that's one thing. You do have Marquise
He's still
coming
fucking
back.
Good.
You do have, I mean, he doesn't look. He looks awesome. You do have Marquise coming back sometime soon here at some point.
They said he should be back maybe this week, but definitely after the bye.
Wow, that's stat.
Yeah, I would probably take Toney. I like what Rondale can do, where Rondale's at. If I could know that target volume would keep up, then we would really have a big discussion on our hands whether or not you want him or Toney, because it's like he can do some of the things that Toney can do with the ball in his hands. And then if you're getting that kind of volume, then that's what you want with Rondale, because he can make a big play out of just about anything. And I don't need every play to be a down the field play. I actually prefer if you could give him a couple of screens and hand him the ball a couple of times as well, because those are things that he can do well. But he can also get down the field and get behind you. So that one's not as cut and dry for me. It's kind of right there. And I don't think I wouldn't sell Rondale for anything less than a 1. Like, I believe in the talent. I like what's going on. The volume's great. I mean, maybe you're screaming in the computer right now, like, you got to sell Rondale right now because he's the volumes that he's getting so good, and it's probably not sustainable.
I'd sell Rondale for 2-2s.
You'd sell Rondale for 2-2s? I'm hanging on to those 2-2s.
Nah, I'm selling them for 2-2s.
Right. I'm hanging on to Rondale.
I could go either way with that. I think it's a fair trade.
I think it's a fair trade too. I just worried about him going forward.
Rondale or Gabe Davis?
I think
my son Gabriel. I think you got to take Gabe.
Yeah.
You get a couple games that I gave, you might get that first.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Gabe too.
Gabe's hot in them streets. The Bills are, even though they lost.
I mean, clearly you got to like the Bills way more than you like anything going on in Arizona. So that's really the only thing that makes me not go say, give me fucking Rondale. But I don't love obviously got to like what's going on in Buffalo. There's so many more eyes on what's going on in Buffalo and so much more desire to obtain anything in Buffalo.
Part of it.
But there's also a lot of desire to get guys who get 10 targets a game. And if that can continue and you can continue to develop Rondale into something, I think, would you trade Gabe Davis for 2-2s?
No.
You'd hang on to him?
Yeah, I'd want the first.
Yeah, I'd want the first for both of those guys. So I'd say they're pretty.
I feel like
even
you're a lot more likely to get the first for Davis than you are for Rondale.
Yeah, and I think that's situationally because of the teams that they play. The logo, that's helmet scouting.
It's also eyeball scouting when he scores 4 touchdowns and
it's one guy. It's one guy, right? It's one guy scoring, having more scoring opportunities, and more people seeing them and being excited about them than the guy who's. There is a lot of questions with Nuke. You did lose Ertz now.
That's true. That is true. That's a good point. What about McBreezy?
Yeah, I mean, rookie tight end. He's been out there getting some snaps, but not a whole lot of targets. Got one this week. And he's shown the ability to be a high target guy, but I don't know that that's necessarily going to be the case this year.
Yeah. I just don't think they'd like to use the tight end if it's not Zach Ertz.
Yeah. It's interesting. I got those guys pretty close, and I'm leaning Rondale. I'm just me and Gabe. We're on the outs right now.
I can see
we
that.
got to see a marriage counselor, see if we can make this work.
Yeah.
We're doing it for the kids right now.
That's good. That's good.
We don't want to split up and have 2 Christmases. So, all right. Last game, Niners Chargers. I think really the big topic there would be Elijah Mitchell having life.
Well, yeah, they came out and said apparently that the game plan all along was the split carries.
Right.
Which that'd be real fucking nice to know, Kyle.
So what's your plan? I mean, if that's going to be the case, then Elijah Mitchell is more than startable, right?
Well, I mean, they can say all they want, but I mean, yeah, I think he's a flex play, but CMC still must start for me.
Oh, to me, it doesn't change the startability factor of CMC at all.
I think it cuts into his upside.
It certainly could cut into the upside for sure. The pass catching and the willing to throw to CMC.
Yeah.
But Mitchell looked good. If Mitchell was healthy, I think Corey Main and the disc, posed the question if Elijah had been healthy this whole time, do they even make the trade for CMC because of how good Mitchell would have been? But now they have kind of 2 toys, and also the idea of if the Niners have playoff aspirations, we don't need 90% usage of CMC.
Correct.
We can kind of split this up a little bit, and if Mitchell's effective at doing what he's doing, which there was certainly times this last game where it's like I don't want to not see CMC on the field, but like Mitchell was running well, so I was like, damn, put Mitchell in, give it to Mitchell right here, Mitchell in, give it to Mitchell. But it really, is this would you try to sell Mitchell immediately? I mean, the CMC owner may value him the most, but is there just trying to get, if you could get a 2 for Mitchell right now to get out from under him, would you? Obviously, it all depends on if you're, winning or not. But
I don't know that it does
value
you
check on
been
Mitchell
winning because of Mitchell.
Yeah.
Well, you thought he was dead, just like you thought Jeff Wilson was dead, and he doesn't look dead at all.
No, not at all.
I think
I'd be out regardless of where I'm at.
You're meaning you sell for the 2?
Yeah.
You would never pay the 2 even if you had Christian McCaffrey?
That's the only scenario I would do it. The only scenario is if I had.
I could move off of him for the 2 to the Christian McCaffrey owner.
I like the fact that this Niner defense is
my.
that this Niner defense is good and that they can most likely, if healthy, keep games at a pace where you could see that there's able to have 25 carries in a lot of the games if that's the game that they want to play.
Yeah.
And both guys could be usable.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get 10 carries a game, then sure.
Yeah. Which it seems like it's likely, and you know, you see him in a multitude of different ways, but you know, I guess it's probably smart money move to move Mitchell for a 2 if you could.
Yeah, for sure.
And hang on. But
I don't know the value is ever going to go up more than that unless McCaffrey gets injured.
Right.
That's my thought process there.
Yeah, that's accurate. So I think. Anybody else you guys want to talk about before we get out of here?
Just a real quick note. That you should have been buying the former Michigan wide receivers in Donovan Peoples-Jones and Nico Collins. Both had 2 strong weeks this week.
Probably still ability to buy.
Yeah, DPJ I think has the most yards of any player from scrimmage that had a touchdown so far this year. So
it's going to be that's really going to hinge on when Deshaun comes back.
He'll be back week 13.
How
they said he's going to be practicing this week.
How's their rapport? How much does he love him? How much does he target him to really step the game up to be elite?
I think he can play downfield and that's more of a Watson's game more so than Brissett's game. So
yeah,
that's obviously a plus. And then Collins.
But if they can get the love, man, if they can get the connection going, DPJ.
Whew.
But Nico,
wheels up.
Nico has been a favorite of ours for a minute here, and yeah, well, I've been saying for before you were around that that there's been some good Michigan talent, wide receiver wise, and some running backs. But
they got 2 good ones there now.
They got 2 good ones and a guy who transferred out, and Charbonnet.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like who are you talking about? Yeah,
he looked great the other day.
Old Charbonnet.
But yeah, man, they had some pretty athletic guys, and they're kind of similar builds, Nico and DPJ.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I like buying into both of those guys. They both had good games this week. There's a potential that the game, it might dip a little bit back down, so maybe don't go after him this week. But
I mean,
if it logged,
DPJ has 5 of his last 6 games, has more than 70 yards. So
yeah, true. Nico probably a little more likely to.
Sure. I think you're buying Nico for 23 and beyond.
Yeah, I like that though. DPJ baby,
all day.
Who's got all day? I mean, those Tua receipts stuff is getting great because Tua looks fucking awesome. So all the Tua haters are really eating wieners right now. So that's fun.
Yeah, did you see that sign that the guy had?
Yeah, that was pretty solid.
Apparently the guy who originally created that got kicked off of Twitter because he was like being like an ass to everyone who said negative things about Tua.
Tua on.
All
right, you got any questions before we get out of here?
I said,
yeah, I got to get to old sports question. He's been hanging around for a minute here. He's got a trade in his inbox. 10-team Superflex PPR.
Get 2 more teams.
Get Saquon.
Yes.
What's the trade?
Give Jameson and the 23-201. So the
Jameson and a 2?
The earliest 2. Jameson and 2. Both teams are rebuilding. I have no RBs, but I have the 23-101 and heavy in depth at wide receiver. Chase, Higgins, London, Garrett Wilson, and Dubs.
I mean, I tried to move some of those to Jameson Williams then. Fuck that.
Do what?
I'd rather move. Oh, so he's getting he's trading Barkley. So he's trading Jameson. Yeah.
And the 2.
I would trade somebody else.
Who?
If you're going to move that for Barkley.
I'm not trading Chase or Higgins or London or Garrett Wilson.
I'd trade London, but
London in a 2 for Saquon.
That's probably an. That's,
I like the value of the trade. Just like I think that's fine. I think Jameson and a 2. I think to get Barkley for that. I think that's good. I think that's a good deal.
I think I think you're right. It's probably fair. I just don't know. I'm just so excited about Jameson.
I'm very excited about Jameson, but I think it's basically a 1 and a 2. That's fine with me. Like that's fucking cheap as hell, Barkley. If you really equate it down to that,
that's
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just don't love the fact that you're saying you're in a rebuild, and it's like it's
a 10 team, so it's kind of like a late one in a 12 team. You're trading Superflex, so that's even
you're trading for deeper. A 27, 26-year-old running back in a rebuild.
Yeah,
that's I like the value. I'm not sure I love it. Now you're saying you got the 1-1, so you're saying you're going to add Bijan and Saquon.
About to say in that scenario, in a 10-team league and even in Superflex, I still might take Bijan over the two quarterbacks. Just saying.
Oh, I'm taking Bijan.
Yeah,
over the 2 quarterbacks. I think in any fucking format.
I don't know about any format.
Let's go. Give me Bijan. Although, I mean, he was pretty much outdone by Miller on TCU this last game, so stock down Bijan.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Guy sucks. Does he even catch passes? What's his target share?
Bijan?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he catches passes. He like goes up and catches back shoulder fades while rotating in midair. I'm pretty sure.
I'm just talking shit. I couldn't tell you what his target share is.
I couldn't tell you what his target share is, but I'm pretty sure he catches passes, which there's a difference. But we won't even hate you if you don't catch passes on this show. Imagine that.
He has 19 receptions.
About to catch
314 yards. Oh my god!
About to pass that 20 reception threshold, so he's good.
That was a hell of a punt.
That was ridiculous. Actually, they should send us whatever his preference is to his room tonight.
Jesus. I mean, they're gonna lose. I mean, I don't know. Tim.
Back to the trade.
Schmuck didn't fumble the ridiculous ball. He put him in scoring position.
And that's why Quez Watkins is the wide receiver 3.
He sucks. Should have kept Rager.
Should have kept Aguilar.
Yeah. I'm going with I don't think so on the trade.
It just seems like a weird move to make.
I feel like you're just putting yourself in such a good position. You got Bijan, a really young running back, and a bunch of young wide receivers.
But then at the same time, he could be putting himself in a situation to compete in 23 with Bijan and Barkley.
He really could, but I mean, you can probably go once you're in season and you see that you're winning, you could go then take first because you got a young nucleus and start trading them off to buy your mid-aged running backs, and you could probably buy Barkley in season for, somewhere around the same price because he's just going to be a year older. So I think I agree. I don't hate it.
Cook,
I mean, I could.
Gus Edwards.
Obviously,
Drake.
I'm having so much problem because I really don't hate rolling into the season with Barkley and Saquon and basically just losing Jameson Williams and a dart throw at 2-1. And like you said, it is Superflex in a 10-team league. But
he says he has James Cook, Gus Edwards, and Kenyon. Those are his only running backs.
I mean, that's pretty bleak.
Yeah, that's rough.
So I'd probably sit tight, maybe take Bijan, and then
make a play for an older wide receiver if you're competing next year to make a push.
Make a play for any running back that.
Running back. I said wide receiver.
I mean, you could probably get a half decent running back, maybe that 201 as well too.
Yeah. I'd sit tight, man. For me personally, I don't hate it. We've kicked this around quite a bit but I think I'd be sitting tight, even though the Barkley value it's
a good
great.
value. Yeah,
it is good value, but it's a bummer to give up Jameson, I guess. Although, I mean, I don't know. I could go either way. If you love Saquon, if you want to take Saquon to the Dashboard Confessionals concert like Matt over here. He's only 25. He's about to get paid. Could be the same situation he's in now or is one of his choosing. So,
Saquon, come to the Rams.
I can't be mad at it if you want to make that trade. Haven't seen Jameson hit the field at all, although does seem like a pretty bankable asset right there. Don't love the Lions. I could see taking the Saquon. Fuck it, you're in a 10-team league. You need some heavy hitters, And he's got some. He's got some pieces in the wide receiver room. He's going to have to get Bijan, and they're going to both have to stay healthy because there's no other depth.
Yeah. Maybe you want to move away from both Bengals receivers. Now, I'm all for having. I think you can start them both, but that may be another avenue you want to.
They're both so young and good.
No,
I don't know.
I'm totally with you.
I'm
Totally with you.
Yeah, that situation can change. Although it seems like they might be together forever.
Yeah, I gotta just play that. See how my season starts
I'm
off
just
and where I'm going.
I'm just throwing shit
trade.
against. I'm just throwing shit against the wall. Here.
Yeah, before I want to
You
trade
trade
for
Drake
a running
London.
back.
You trade Drake London too. That'd be great.
Got nothing going on.
Great choice.
Great young nucleus of wide receivers. I'm gonna wait and see.
Yeah.
How things are playing out before.
You don't need to make that move.
No, not on a rebuild. I mean, if you were telling me that you were somehow competing this year, which with the running backs you couldn't, but
right. If it was a buy to make the run here because you're competing now, I'm definitely all in on that. But all right, you want to get out of here, or you want to watch 2 minutes of this game on air? Because
This is what they're using their timeouts here.
Probably,
yes.
Probably not the most riveting on air stuff. So we'll see you next time. We're gonna watch the end of this game.
Yeah.
I can't believe we never once asked them to like, subscribe.
Oh my God, how will they
leave
ever
a
know?
Comment.
That's your job, buddy.
How
No,
will they ever know?
he just goes on and on and on. He's supposed to take a break and say,
I don't think it matters. So.
Supposed to ask them, yeah. I bet we just got one from that.
I hope so.
For the rhythm, for the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a comment below. Hit me up with a question. I'll type in there. I don't fucking know. I might even text these guys to see what they think. Who knows?
It's happened before.
Appreciate y'all for joining us.
Left in that on red for sure.
Shout out to the Pleasure Chesters. If you want to come join us over in the Discord channel, get deeper in there, get the guys in our community to chime in on some of these questions, go over to the FF Dynasty or patreon.com/FF Dynasty. Leave me a 5-star review on if you're listening on the podcast, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, mostly the Spotify's. iHeartRadio's on the up and up. I got to check and see what's going on in our iHeart. They're just spending mad advertising dollars out there. I hear them nonstop. But no, we appreciate everybody listening on the podcast. Go over to the YouTube channel. Give us a subscribe if you get a chance. Send me a screenshot. If you give me a 5-star review, I'll sign you up for a T-shirt.
See, I feel like somebody unsubscribed because that was so much of saying do it. But now they're just like, I'm out of here.
Do it.
If they're listening,
I'm just fucking
an hour and 42 minutes in, then you can let me pitch you on some of the things we got going on. We didn't pitch you a single fucking time. We didn't read you a single fucking read. We didn't hit you with that right off the rip. We didn't do it before we got into anything. We didn't give shout outs to anyone. We didn't give you a promo code. We weren't in your ear about some shit. We could be all on that shit.
DJ Clue.
We could be go out there
Desert Storm.
whoring ourselves out for $25 a pop. You know,
$50 a pop.
Just don't want to.
$100 a pop.
Yeah. I just don't have the time and energy right now. I'd rather try and just give you
keep
guys
building
some good content.
organically without begging you for subscriptions and such.
Yeah.
Eagles undefeated.
That being said,
Eagles undefeated no more.
let me get a subscription. All right, y'all.
My wife is very upset that the Eagles lost this game.
Yeah, I was wondering if she's still up. That's a bummer for her. She got to be up at like.
On a personal foul call.
I keep
4.
trying to tell her, like, you just want to lose. You got to get the undefeated shit out of the way. It's just a fucking distraction. And then, like, what do you start, like, just lose a game or two. It's
What's
fine.
The Commanders at home?
It's a division game. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
And they fucked up. They should have not fumbled. They could have not hit him right there. They just blew this. You gave it away. Commanders came out and played well, from what I could see. But shout out to Terry McLaurin.
Crush time of possession, 2-1.
All right, for real.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get the FF out of here. Appreciate y'all. Peace.